Hey Daisy, we really have some work to do to put these books back on the shelf, so I'd appreciate if break time ended maybe. Maybe. Hey everyone, Dominic the Primetime Treasure Hunter here. The main sourcing goal for today is to head over to the flea market. It is a beautiful sunny Sunday morning. Getting a little bit of a late start on the day, but that's okay. The reason for that is because I'm focusing a lot more on making sure that I'm hitting certain listing goals. So that's what I was focused on this morning. And so, even if I get out a little bit late to the flea market, I'm all right with that given the volume of inventory that I have that I need to get listed. So let's head over there and see if we can find any late treasures. All right, so here we are now. It's 10 o'clock, and I usually like to get here, somewhere during the 9 o'clock hour. But, you could still see that we don't have a full parking lot, and this is the third week that the flea market has been opened. So, I guess I take from that the word still hasn't completely gotten out, because yesterday I heard someone talking about coming to the flea market, and someone said, "Oh, it's actually open." And the person's like, "Yeah, it opened a few weeks ago." So I don't think everyone knows. They haven't advertised it well. And I know I'm going down the wrong arrow, but it doesn't matter because I'm parking right over here. So I do that all the time. So hold on a second. So there's that issue in terms of the marketing of it. And then, I guess there's still some people who are concerned about, just being in spaces, with lots of people around. But, I've got my Mountain Dew mask thanks to Farm Girl Scavenger. So I feel pretty safe with this, keep the social distancing up, and haven't had any problems so far. So let's head out there. So literally within 5 seconds of getting there, I find this. Wait till I tell you the story behind this pickup. All right, so this is a pretty crazy situation what just happened. I mean, I couldn't have walked into a better situation at the first table. So let me show you something about these books and tell you what happened. So I go up to the first table, and this is the first thing that I see. There's a whole bunch of vintage Beatles books, and the Beatles are great because they're very collectible. People love Beatles stuff, and especially if you could find them in lots like this, you could do really well. And they're in bags. Most of them are in great shape. I mean, some have some damage, like this one you'd have to toss, but it's a lot purchased, so you're gonna see things like that. There's Beatles magazines and stuff. And then the next thing I know, he plops up all of these other magazines and books onto the table, and he says to this other guy, everything here, all of these books plus everything here for $20 if you want it. Oh, look here, we got a Dick Tracy book in there as well, but it's mostly Beatles stuff. Hardcovers, soft covers, a lot of it's vintage. So he's like telling the guy, he's like, it's a no-brainer. And the guy's just standing there and he's not responding. So let me get in my car and fill you in on the rest of this. So, I don't like to be rude or anything or cut into somebody else's deal. So he obviously was talking to somebody else about it. So I looked at the guy and I said, "Are you going to purchase the books?" And so the guy looks at me and he's like, "Oh, I don't know." He's like, "I really got to think about it, blah, blah." And so I looked at the guy who's selling them and I'm like, "Well, what are you going to do?" So he's like, "Well, whichever one of you say you're going to buy it first, that's who gets it." So I looked at the guy again and I said, "Are you going to purchase it?" So he goes, "No, if you want to buy it, because I haven't decided, if you're going to buy it, go ahead." So I'm like, sold. So I bought it. And, his expression, sometimes you got to poop or get off the pot. I used the word poop because some people cracked up when I used that yesterday. But it's true. I mean, that's a no-brainer deal. All those books for just $20. I mean, that's amazing. So I'm real excited about that. So then here's the best part. So then I say to the guy, well, actually, the guy, he says to me, the guy who sold it, he says, "What do you have, a store or something?" And so, this is why I say that it is a good idea in most instances to let people know that you are a reseller. So I said, yeah, I go, I have a store. I go, I resell stuff. And he says, wow. He goes, well, I do estate clearouts and liquidations. That's why I got this deal, because this guy doesn't care. He just got this stuff, swooped it up at some clear out, and so he's just blowing it away just to get rid of all the books. So I said, well, do you ever come across comic books? He goes, I come across all sorts of stuff. I said, what about ephemera, that type of stuff? He goes, yeah, I come across it all the time. I go, well, that's what I specialize in. So he's like, you are the guy I've been looking for. You are the guy. And I'm like, well, here's my business card. Here's why you have the business card. He's so excited. The guy's like almost jumping up and down. He gave me his card. So I'm pumped up. Now, I will tell you, a lot of times where you exchange cards like this, nothing ever comes of it, but you never know. Once in a while it does. Once in a while I do get a phone call from somebody. So I told them, that's my cell phone number. You could text me anytime. So, I mean, gosh, if nothing else happens today at the flea market, this was perfect. I am satisfied with just that. But anyway, we're going to head out and see if we can find some more stuff. And look at this, by the way. There's some vintage 16 magazines and, teen screen. These go back to the 1960s. They're bagged and everything. They look really nice inside. I'm real excited. This is amazing. Tell me in the comments section what you see when you look at this cover. A lot of people just see a guy painting and talking to the woman, but there's something much more important going on there that you need to know that makes this desirable to a lot of people, and that is it shows this man in a subservient position to a sexy woman who is hovering over him. So there's a power differential there, and a lot of people love that. I talked about it to the guy, and he pulled out this vintage poster of famous adult film star Linda Lovelace. That is currently on eBay right now for $72. So I'm just going to list it for a little bit lower than that. So that's a great pickup. I got both of those things for $5. Here I am just showing you just some dead spots at the flea market. All right, so that's it for today at the flea market. Not bad considering the limited selection that was there. Again, I'm really excited about the Beatles pickup. All those books and magazines for just $20. I mean, wow. Plus, there were some vintage items sprinkled in there as well. So I'm real happy about those vintage teen rock magazines, because I lost some of those during the flood. And so whenever you can replace lost items like that for cheap, it makes you feel better about the situation. So I keep feeling better and better about that every day. Thanks to all of you who continue to reach out and ask me about it. In fact, last week here at the flea market, I ran into Enrique Blanco. He's a member of the Facebook Reselling Resource Center, and he was kind enough to come up to me and ask me about it. Someone else came up to me today, asked me about it. And also today, another really good thing about the day is that I ran into a friend of mine who I've known before I was doing the YouTube channel. I won't say his name because I didn't get permission for him to do that, but he knows who he is. His first name starts with the letter L, and he's got a great niche that he specializes in. But he was telling me, and I didn't know this, that he's like actively watching the channel. Like, I knew he saw it before, but he actually told me that. I was happy to hear this. I'm not saying this to brag. I want to like actually pass along a message that he said, but he said it's helping him get through the whole pandemic situation, because one of the things that actually slipped my mind is, because I don't set up at shows, but there's a lot of people who make their living setting up at shows, at trade shows. And he told me that within 1 minute, all 15 of his trade shows were shut down. And, that's a big problem if that's what you're, making a living off of. And so, he really thought about what to do and how to fix things up. And, he basically just redesigned what he was doing in his eBay store to, come up with a new business model. And it was really successful. And so, I don't want to get into the specifics of what he did, although he knows he does have an invitation, an open invitation to come onto my channel to talk about his niche. And actually how he recovered from this would be a great area to talk about as well. So if you would like to see him come on my channel, mention that in the comment section, because I'm sure he'll see that. He's kind of like waffling right now about coming on, so maybe he needs a little bit of convincing, and maybe you could do that for him. But he said, recently when I was talking about that, the update on the eBay cyberstalking case, he's like, one of the things you said to me like really hit home, which is that, you know, you could do 30 years of good stuff and then you do one bad thing. You go off the straight and narrow path and then you get caught and it totally ruins your reputation. So, you know, it really reinforces the message out there, you know, to just make sure, you know, you come up with a plan, a path of how you're gonna, you know, succeed in your business, adjust that when necessary, but do it all in a legal way and in a way that's not gonna get you into any kind of trouble. So just a reminder on that. Let's go back to Primetime Treasure headquarters and see what's going on over there. Well, I was doing some cleaning out of the hallway area next to where the flood was, because if you remember, there was a lot of stuff that I had lined into the hallway that got displaced from that room when all the water was on the floor and I was trying to sop it up. And this is an example of what is going to happen if you do not take care of water damage, because you could see here, look how fast that mold developed all over this book, and everything under here is ruined as well. One thing that I did learn, and I want to thank Joanne Hofer for giving me this tip, is that what you can do, there's articles on this, immediately after you find a book or some type of paper item that has gotten wet, is to immediately freeze it, because the freezing actually stops the mold development process and it stops the wearing down of the ink. Now, I've not tried this before, but I've seen before and after pictures comparing freezing to air drying, and it's not even close. So there's techniques and stuff you could look into online, but just look that up in terms of freezing books that got wet. That might save you in the future if something like this ever happens to you. All right, well, speaking of the hallway, just to show you a little update on that, as you could see, it has been cleared out in terms of all of the stuff from the flood that got displaced that was put in here temporarily. That was causing a problem. It was annoying trying to walk through because it was a more narrow path. So now, you know, I've got that visual stress gone, and, you know, that pretty much leaves this room, the flood zone, as the next major thing that, you know, needs to be worked on. Initially, again, trying to clear up all the other rooms that got affected by all this displacement in here. So when is that going to happen? Pretty soon. I think I'm going to start taking some bigger steps towards that this week. My contractor was on another job this prior week. I expect to get the contract probably sometime this week, and then, you know, eventually we'll get a firm date set. And I don't literally have to move everything out of here. I just have to get things into the center of the room so he could at least, you know, work around the perimeter. But we will still clear a lot of stuff out. I need to get through this entire shelf here. That's going to be a whole project. I cannot wait to find out what's in these boxes and what's tucked, you know, in the back of these shelves here. There's stuff that I have not seen literally in years. So it's going to be like a treasure hunt in my own place. Another thing I've been working on, if you remember, when this flood happened, we were doing a painting job upstairs, and so my office, you know, had totally been displaced with books all over the place. So I've been going through those, listing some in my eBay store. That's why you would see some things related to my neuropsychology profession being listed on there, because I'm just getting rid of a bunch of stuff. So anyway, that's pretty much it. I hope you enjoyed the video, some of the cool treasures that we found, and we'll be back at it next week with some more fun videos. So I look forward to seeing you at those. Make sure you comment down below if you like the video. Make sure you give it a thumbs up. Make sure you subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you back at the next one, everyone. Take care. Hey, Daisy. Just want to get you one last time on video for everyone, just so everyone knows you're alive after seeing you laying on your back in the beginning. So you're about to go into another relaxation mode here. I know, you know, staying guard at Primetime Treasure headquarters all day is not as easy as everyone thinks, right? All right. Bye, Days.